Did Pope Francis appoint Cardinal Sarah to a special oversight role to oversee the theology, the seminary development, the liturgy for South America, Africa, and Asia? That was going around all day yesterday, and I'd watched the video. There's a fake AI video that is out. It's a deep fake. We are at the level now of papal deep fakes. And this video, which has 324,000 views, says Pope Leo XIV announces new role for Cardinal Sarah, and it's surprising! Exclamation mark. The thumbnail says, breaking news, everything just changed. And it's got, it looks like Cardinal Sarah blowing his nose. I don't know. And then it's got Pope Leo. And this is fake news. And I actually opened up yesterday's podcast to just mention, hey, this is fake news. People are asking me about it. And it's fake news. And then I went on with the show. But over the last 24 hours, I've realized people don't know this is fake news. This is an AI deep fake. And I started yesterday morning, started having friends and people send it to me. And I actually called up Joy, my wife, and I said, hey, babe, I'm seeing this online. There's a video saying that Pope Leo XIV has appointed a special role for Cardinal Sarah. And she's like, oh, that's amazing. That's great. I said, yeah, I'm going to get in the studio and research it and find out what I can find. Well, I watched the video and I immediately knew this is a deep fake. And I knew because the voice was too perfect. It's robotic. And there was also there's several mistakes, but there was a key mistake in the video where the robot, the AI, called Cardinal Sarah a she. And I think that's because it had the word Sarah, which in English is a girl name. Here's what the AI deepfake said, is even, quote, ready, this is from the video. I'm not going to show the video for the sake of copyright, all right? I'm just going to read some from the transcript. It said, even Sarah's critics took notice. A Jesuit theologian who once disagreed with him at a liturgical conference wrote in a blog post, whether you admire or oppose him, you must now deal with him. The Pope chose engagement over exile. This explains everything. Sarah accepted the appointment in a brief letter once she returned to Rome. End quote. When I heard that, I said, this is obviously AI, because AI saw the word Sarah and put a she, and somehow the people who put out this fake AI video didn't catch that detail. So I knew immediately it was fake. It has since been confirmed by His Eminence, Cardinal Sarah, that this is a deep fake. All right, this is not real. So I'm going to share some of what's in this video and tear it apart for you. We'll do Q&A. I also did want to comment that there's some really cool pictures of Pope Leo XIV with the ecumenical patriarch Bartholomew of Constantinople. And everyone's like, they're going to unite. This is the best thing. We need to understand that Eastern Orthodoxy currently right now is deeply divided. The ecumenical patriarch of Constantinople, who you see on the screen, he is in schism with the patriarch of Moscow, who has excommunicated him. So all of this is over the status of the independence of the Eastern Orthodox Church in Ukraine after the Zelensky Ukrainian shakedown. So Eastern Orthodoxy is not united at the moment. And I was shocked. I actually learned today. I was 47 years old when I learned this today, that there are only about, this is according to Grok, 2,000, maybe 3,000 Eastern Orthodox Christians living in Constantinople, which today is called Istanbul, the Muslim name. 2,000 to 3,000. Constantinople used to be next to Rome. It was the biggest, the best, the most beautiful Catholic city in the world. In 2025, only 2,000 to 3,000 Christians living in Constantinople. It's very sad. As a Catholic, I wish the praises of Jesus Christ were echoing throughout the Hagia Sophia, the cathedral, the great, I mean, it's more than a cathedral. And what a loss. What a loss in the 1400s. So that's happening. Also, before I get into this deep fake on Cardinal Sarah, really amazing installation of Pope Leo XIV at the Basilica, the Archbasilica of St. Paul's outside the walls. A magnificent church. It's outside the walls of Rome, so not many people visit it, but it is one of the 4 archbasilicas of Rome. The 4 being St. John Lateran, which is the cathedral, St. Mary Major, St. Peter's Basilica, which everyone knows, that's the Vatican, and St. Paul's outside the walls. A magnificent picture. People might say, well, that's not humble. That's because we have a problem with performative humility. Like, oh, I'm not going to do that because it's not humble. I'm not going to wear that. And, we don't say that about a policeman. A policeman is like, I'm a humble policeman. I don't wear the uniform, right? Or I'm a humble Supreme Court judge. I don't wear the robe when I'm on the bench. No, I'm a humble NFL football player or NBA player. I don't wear my uniform. No, the uniforms are there to remind us of the office. All right. It's not about your personality when you're an office holder. The uniform, the robes, the regalia, all of that is to remind you of the office. And this is why judges and policemen and firefighters and even doctors, medical doctors, wear a uniform. It says, hey, it's not me, Bob or Joe or Jill here. I'm standing here in an official capacity. And I think under Pope Francis, that idea of, I need to be humble, so I need to downplay the office, downplay the uniform. We're back. I mean, that's a great picture. And, I love the Cathedral of Rome, which is St. John Lateran. A lot of people think St. Peter's is the cathedral. It's not. The Cathedral, St. John Lateran. And in the apse of John Lateran is a huge throne, cathedra, which is Greek for throne, seat. And flanking on each side of it at St. John Lateran in the apse are sort of this stair-stepped area where you could seat people, cardinals. And I would love to see an annual photo. Pope Leo XIV, Your Holiness, I would love to see an annual photo with the Pope, you sitting in the cathedra, in the throne at St. John Lateran with all the cardinals flanked out on the right and on the left. Annual photo. Chef's kiss. It'd be beautiful. Love it. So exciting images coming out. We're starting to see at least a return to the traditional aesthetic. And I know a lot of people say, let me just clear my throat real quick. I'm gonna mute. Hold on. A lot of people say, hey, you just care about the mozzetta, the stole, the robe. What about the doctrine? Yes, the doctrine is first. All right. The vestments, the architecture, all of that is second. But it is important. All right. We talk about the true, the good, and the beautiful. Those are the 3 transcendentals. They are one. And beauty is part of Catholicism. Even when the Catholics were worshiping in the catacombs, we can see by what they have left that they tried to make things good, true, and beautiful with whatever they have. And that's true whether you're living in, Rome, Paris, New York City, Hong Kong, Nigeria, Peru. You make things as beautiful as you can. That is an act of adoration. And it's also connected to what is good and what is true. And we Catholics don't apologize about that. All right. There needs to be beauty. The beauty of holiness. The beauty of truth. The beauty of goodness. And so for those of us that see that and we find hope in that, that is an encouragement. And it's fine. All right. I know doctrine is more important, but also to see our aesthetic, to see our beauty, to see our traditions being brought back. That is an encouragement, and it's not for nothing. You can't completely discount it. All right. It is important. So when I see Pope Leo XIV enthroned as he should be, he is the vicar of Christ. He is the prince of the apostles. I rejoice because it is illustrating a theological principle that we believe as Catholics. All right, let's get back to this deep fake. All right, and I'll come into your comments, questions in a little bit here. For some reason, the X feed, the Twitter feed has broken. I don't know why, but unfortunately, our X people are no longer with us. I mean, they're still alive, but they're just not part of today's stream. Here's part of the deep fake. Another part that I knew that this was a deep fake was the fake phone call. Let me find that real quick. Okay. So it's a very dramatic video. Here's what it looks like. Over 300,000 views. Many people have been deceived by this. People on social media are still talking about how Pope Leo XIV has appointed Cardinal Sarah to a special office of oversight in the world. People still believe it as I'm talking right now, and I'm telling you, it's a deep fake. It's AI. And here's how we know. I am quoting from the video. Again, I'm not playing the video because I don't want any copyright problems. So I'm just reading to you what the video says. It's very dramatic. All right. It says, and I'll try to, for some reason, I got a tickle in my throat today. I'll try to read it in a dramatic way, like in the video. All right, here we go. Some believed he had no chance of being elected pope. He was overly controversial too, hardline. However, that may not have been his role to play, because just a few weeks later, under a new pontificate, the impossible occurred. The telephone rang. It arrived quietly, no entourage, no announcement. It's just a simple call. The phone rang at Cardinal Robert Sarah's modest residence on the outskirts of Rome. And I know that's fake too, because Cardinal Sarah doesn't live on the outskirts of Rome. Where he had lived since retirement, a small stone house filled with African iconography. Like what? Like Cardinal Sarah is living in a small, dilapidated stone house on the outskirts of Rome, surrounded by African iconography. Like this is such an AI bot. Anyone who watched this should have known this was fake. Well-worn theological texts and the silence of a man who had given up expecting much from Vatican phone calls. But that morning, the phone rang. He answered. Sorry, my computer just... All right. He answered. On the other end, Pope Leo XIV. Robert, the voice answered, calm, familiar. It's time we talk. The call lasted for 43 minutes. That's another thing. I was like, how does this AI bot, or how does this video know that they talked for 43 minutes? Like, the only way they would know that is if Cardinal Sarah released that. He ain't going to do that. Or Pope Leo released that. He's not going to do that either. So this is fake. Continuing, according to sources, this was not a summons, not a demand. It was an invitation. I have been listening to the church, Pope Leo reportedly stated, and I believe we cannot build unity without including those who felt pushed away. Cardinal Sarah initially remained silent. He held no illusions. He was knowledgeable about politics. He'd seen men cheer one year, then erase the next. But this was not flattering. This was direct, honest. The new Pope Leo praised Sarah's clarity, courage, and most importantly, his witness. You stood your ground, Pope Leo XIV informed him. Now, I need you to walk with me, not in the past, but into the future. Sarah was stunned. This was a pope regarded as I don't know what that word is there, a centrist reformer, raised in Francis's spirit, While acutely aware of the church's growing schism, why contact the man most associated with the other side? That's when Leo clarified, says this fake AI video. I'm not trying to silence you, Leo explained. I'm asking you to serve visibly, to be yourself. Again, this is fake AI. Just be yourself. It's like Pedro talking to Napoleon Dynamite. Then came the offer, not returning to liturgical oversight, not to being buried in an advisory position, but to lead a new office that focuses on global renewal rather than internal bureaucracy. Sarah requested time to pray. Leo said he expected nothing less. Sarah spent 5 days doing what he always does, attending Mass alone, reading scripture, and walking in the garden outside his house. He didn't speak to any reporters. He conducted no interviews. Insiders, however, say they saw something in his face that they hadn't seen for years. Again, this is an AI bot writing a novel. Peace, because the Pope did not ask him to change. He was asking him to serve again, but this time on a mission that resembled a calling rather than an assignment. 5 days later, Cardinal Sarah agreed. Not with conditions, not with exceptions, but a simple line. I've never sought titles, but if this benefits the church, I will walk. And that's how it happened. All right. And it goes on. It's pretty cheesy. But again, I mentioned it in the opening of yesterday's podcast, just as a throwaway comment, like, oh, yeah, y'all have seen that Cardinal Sarah video. It's fake. And then I just went on with the rest of the podcast. But again, this is becoming mainstream. People actually are believing this. Even trusted people I've seen have been saying that this is real, but it is fake. And Cardinal Sarah has confirmed that it is fake. And the alleged truth is that, or the alleged claim of the video, the fake AI video, is that Leo has created this special office that doesn't answer to the Secretary of State. It answers directly to Pope Leo. And the claim is that he is to oversee basically everything in Asia, Africa, and South America, the global South, which is where the church is growing the fastest. And so people saw this and like, oh, Cardinal Sarah is back. Pope Leo loves Cardinal Sarah. This is a dream team. We are so back. Let's go, Cardinal Sarah. But regrettably, it's not true. It's not true. Now, maybe Pope Leo hears about this fake AI video and he's like, yeah, that's fake. That never happened. But it's actually kind of a good idea. Maybe I should do that. And maybe he calls up Cardinal Sarah and says, hey, you want to have a special office? But I doubt that's going to happen because this would completely restructure and rearrange how the Vatican Curia works. Just to have a maverick guy who answers straight to the Pope. I mean, it's almost like a Mission Impossible sort of drama unfolding. So for those of you that thought that Cardinal Sarah had this super role, this super office assigned to them, I'm sorry, he didn't. It's an AI deepfake. And that raises the question about AI, artificial intelligence. I've seen AI deepfakes of myself, and they're pretty convincing. The voice, I know my voice pretty well, so I listen to it, and occasionally I'll hear differences, but I've seen people make AI deepfakes of me, some flattering, some not flattering, and it concerns me. You know, I think to myself, because I'm a person, I have, how many videos have I made? I think it's over 2,000. See, will this tell me? No, it won't tell me. I have over 2,000 videos. It might be coming up on 3,000. I lose count. So my voice you can sample my voice very easily. I have said so many words in the English language. You can capture my excitement. You could capture my Texas twang. You could even capture my Appletini drinking Jesuit, where I'm like, but Taylor, that's not very ecumenical. You could get that too. You could get everything that I say, and you could then put in a script, and you could create hour-long podcasts of me talking. And I bet you a lot of people would not know it's not really me. That kind of scares me as a creator, and it's the same in the music business, and it's becoming the same in the film industry. You know, they now take the voices of Elvis or other famous singers, and they can create new songs with their voices. They can create rap songs. You know, there was one a year back or so. They had like Tupac rapping the song. Tupac's been dead allegedly, and you know, that's a danger for the music industry and for artists. And then you also think about actors. You know, wasn't there like a Star Wars film a few years back, and it had an AI Princess Leia in it? I mean, it's only getting more and more powerful. And now we're actually at the point where AI is used to do a deep fake on the Pope, Cardinal Sarah. We're at the point where you could do an AI deep fake of a papal speech, a papal mass. You know, someone probably has the skills. They could say, all right, I'm going to upload maybe Pope Pius XII saying a pre-Vatican II, you know, papal solemn high mass, and teach it that, and then give it some more data. And then say, okay, I want you to do all that, but I want it to be in color 2025. And I want it to be Pope Leo the 14th. That's maybe a possibility now. I saw one video, an AI video that's been bouncing around the last 24 hours. It's kind of cheesy to me, but it has Pope Francis, Pope Benedict XVI, Pope John Paul II, and I think Pope John Paul I with Jesus in heaven watching a flat screen TV while Pope Leo the 14th is announced Habemus Papam. It's pretty cheesy, but I'm also like, it's kind of amazing that people are already making this content so quick. And what do we do when you can recreate, and create alternative realities using people's voices and people's faces? And how do we determine if it's real? And it's a problem on YouTube. I mean, I'm surprised that YouTube allows this kind of stuff to stay up. You know, I mean, the YouTube algorithm should not honor fake AI videos like this. I mean, it's at 324,000 views, and it's totally fake. And I know that YouTube can tell that this is fake, right? So YouTube needs to have, and you know, there needs to be some morality here. There needs to be some ethics where deep fakes are not being honored in the algorithm. It's disinformation. So with that being said, I'll go to the comments, the super chats. I want to hear what you guys think. Did you guys see the deep fake video, and were you tricked, or did you know it was fake? You can be honest. We're not going to judge you. I don't know. Maybe we'll judge you. Maybe we will. What do you think about Pope Leo meeting with the ecumenical patriarch? Is there any hope there? That's not it. Is there any hope there whatsoever? And what do you think about these epic photos of Pope Leo? I mean, I love it. I mean, the Catholic Church built these structures. They built that throne. They built those columns. Why? Because they believe in the papacy. And the people need the inspiration, right? You might say, well, the Pope thinks he's all that because he's sitting there like that. Look, popes come and go, right? The papacy retains. The office of Peter retains. And all of this is for the edification of the church, the beauty of holiness, right? This was not built for Pope Leo the 14th or Pope Francis, right? They occupy it, but another will come. So I see no problem with it. I think it's awesome. All right, I'm going to go into your comments and questions. Before I do, I want to thank everyone who is pushing Christian Patriot to #1. It hasn't even come out yet. We are looking at a summer release right now. We have a tentative date, and If you want to pre-order it, you can do so. There's a link below me on YouTube, christianpatriotbook.com. You can order you can order signed copies, you can order non-signed copies, limited edition copies. There's all kinds of options that the publishing company has come up with. It's very exciting, kind of cool. Also, if you'd like to get a free advanced copy, you can go to taylormarshall.com/team. taylormarshall.com/team. I'm sending out e-copies to a select few people. This is the launch team. We want you to give us some feedback. We want you to read the book. We want you to review the book, to help us promote the book. And so if you'd like to get a free copy and read it ahead of time before anyone else gets to see it, you can go to taylormarshall.com/team, and we are taking applications. It's a free thing, right? This is just a gift to you. We want you to help us, and we're going to give you the book early for free. But we are not taking everyone. So there is an application process that you put your name in and you answer a couple questions. They're kind of just click boxes, right? Check boxes. All right. So go to taylormarshall.com/team to apply for the launch team. And if you're selected, you'll get the free advanced book, and your name will be written in the back of the book. There'll be a thank you section. I want to thank everyone on the launch team, and your name will be in the back of the book, in the hardback, which is cool. And what else do we want to say? Oh, it's the month of May. And I want to encourage you, if you haven't seen the new webinar, please attend the replay of the webinar, Defend Your Mother, What Protestants Get Wrong About Mary. I give you lots of apologetics, lots of enthusiasm, and 3 free books and the Bible cheat sheet on finding all the Marian verses in the Bible. The link to that is below me here on YouTube. And then one last thing, we have a new Mariology course, and that's available at the New St. Thomas Institute. That's where I teach courses, nsti.com. And in the Mariology course, we're teaching you all the Marian dogmas, how to defend the Marian dogmas, using scripture, using tradition, using the church fathers. And then we also go through the Marian devotions. And then we also do a whole course on how to pray the Rosary, and also how to pray the Rosary in Latin, and to learn everything in Latin. So if you're interested in that, and we also have 11 other courses on, I teach a course on Catholic apologetics. How do you defend the faith to a Mormon? I show you. How do you defend the faith to a Jehovah's Witness? I show you. How do you defend the faith to a Muslim? I walk you through how to do that. How do you defend the faith to evangelicals? I show you how to do that. I walk you through that. We have a course on the Old Testament. If you want to go through the entire Old Testament from a Catholic point of view, I take you through every single book of the Old Testament. Same with the New Testament. What do the church fathers teach about the New Testament? We go through all 27 books of the New Testament. We have a course on the traditional Latin Mass, the Roman Rite. We have a church history course on the church fathers, medieval church history, counter-Reformation and modern history, church history, a course on Thomas Aquinas and Catholic philosophy. It's all there. It's all in the cloud. You take the courses at your own pace, and you can earn your certificate in Catholic philosophy, certificate in Catholic church history, certificate in Catholic biblical studies. It's all there. New St. Thomas Institute. We've been doing this for 11 years with thousands and thousands of students all over the world. Currently, I think we have students in 75 nations and thousands of students. So you can get started, join our community, become a student. You can take all the courses on your iPhone. You can take them on a tablet. You can take them on a desktop or a laptop at your own pace. There's no semesters. There's no obligation. Just do it as you want to do it. And you can get started with a special preliminary offer, $1. And that link is below me on YouTube. Click that link. You can start the Mariology course, and you can also take all the other courses, 11 courses. All right, your comments, your questions. Let's go. Super chats have stacked up. We got Byrne kicking it off. Byrne says, I have a devotion to his humble heart, so that annoys me. Jesus and his mother, Mary, were the most humble humans to ever live. Should we downplay them? Well, Byrne, we are living in the resurrected glory. All right. Right now, If you saw Jesus Christ enthroned at the right hand of the Father, and you saw the Blessed Virgin Mary enthroned at the right hand of Jesus, this right here would look rinky dink. All right. This is a participation of the heavenly glory. This is why priests wear beautiful vestments. This is why chalices are made of gold. This is why tabernacles are made of gold. Why? Because we are in the new creation with the new Adam, Jesus Christ, and the new Eve, the Virgin Mary. We are on the resurrection side of history, which is the epic of glory. And so the church participates in the resurrected glory. This is why the clergy don't walk around in ripped, threadbare robes, and the churches are not shacks with mice running in them. We go for the best. We're in the resurrected glory. So yes, Jesus was born not in a hospital, not in a palace, not in a beautiful home. He was born in a stable. He was laid in a manger, right? He was crucified under Pontius Pilate, stripped of everything. His flesh, his humanity, devastated, decimated by the Romans, mocked by the Jews. All that truly happened. But he also rose on the third day, and that resurrected glory is what the church exists in. And the reason we know that is Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7. And I go over all of this in my book. Do I have a copy of it here? Yeah, I do. The Eternal City. All right. In this book, I show that the prophecy of Daniel in the Old Testament, chapter 2 and chapter 7, shows that the kingdoms of the world, the pagan, secular, powerful kingdoms of the world, of which there were 4 that ruled over Israel: the Babylonians with Nebuchadnezzar, the Medo-Persians, the Greeks, Alexander the Great, and finally the Romans with the Caesars. That those kingdoms, in the time of the fourth kingdom, the Roman kingdom, their glory, their honor, their power would be received by the Messiah, by the Son of Man, and it says by his saints, by his people. So the glories of the kingdom and the glories of the resurrection and all of those things are received by Jesus and his saints and his people, his church. His kingdom will have no end. And that is why Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy as well, which used to be part of Catholicism, has a liturgy that is glorious. It has an aesthetic of glory. It has architecture, vesture, and art of glory. We are living in the glory, and we have received the kingdoms of the world. So it's no slight, and it doesn't undermine the reality that Jesus and Mary were humble and that they lived poorly. Naruto, what are your thoughts on Pope Leo address where he says he wishes to continue the synodality of Francis? He cites Amoris Laetitia, Abu Dhabi, Nostra Aetate. It was heartbreaking to read. I don't remember, I might be wrong here, I don't remember him citing Amoris Laetitia, Abu Dhabi. There was a reference to Nostra Aetate, and I could be wrong on that, but I don't remember him citing Amoris or Abu Dhabi. He does talk about the synodality, and he does talk about Francis, and it makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it. I don't know where it's going. I don't know how it will manifest. There would be a version of synodality where if he said, I found this poll we did with young people, and the majority of them really like traditional liturgy and the traditional Latin Mass, so in accordance with synodality, I'm going to, re-extend the permissions to celebrate the traditional Latin Mass and the traditional rites, And the Catholic Church has had synods, local synods, and ecumenical councils throughout the ages. It's part of our modus operandi. The idea that everything is papal and only papal is not actually historical. So that we might have synods and we might exercise discipline and have reforms through the mode of synods, I'm okay with. I am concerned with what Pope Francis meant by synodality and the ambiguity of what it is. I think if you polled the 200 or so bishops of the United States of America and said, write on this note card the definition of synodality, and you took up all the note cards and you put them in an Excel sheet, I think it would not be I don't think there'd be uniformity there. I really don't think people know what synodality is. And I think that's what scares people. And Pope Leo said, we're not going to have ambiguity anymore. All right. We need distinctions. We need the truth. And so I really hope that Pope Leo defines what is synodality. What are the limits of it? How does it work? What are the outcomes going to be? Because it seems to just sort of be this shapeless, ambiguous Trojan horse to do things that are not traditional, not biblical, not magisterial. And that's the concern. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he did cite Amoris in Abu Dhabi. I don't remember him doing that. There was a reference to Nostra Aetate. And yeah, I mean, it definitely, there's some steam loss there, but you know, I also add this too. Not everything that John Paul II did or said am I on board with. All right. But I do believe he was the real Pope. And so that's where I'm standing. That's where I'm at. Scott says, if you don't pray the rosary, you're not on the team. I can't. Amen, brother. Amen. You got the falling down profile pic. You know, I like you. You're a cool dude. You got to pray the rosary every day. You're not a team. And I didn't make that up. It's not my team. Blessed Mother says that. Pray the rosary every single day. Tommy says, praying that Pope Leo will bring Catholics back to actually living the faith. I know too many Catholics who disagree with core church teachings on family and morality, and it is frustrating to see. Tommy, we talked about that at length in yesterday's podcast. Everybody go back and see yesterday's podcast. You can't impose through documents and papers. You can't impose conversion on people. You can lead them. You can teach them. You can preach to them. You can confirm them. You can live by an example, and it works. It really does work. Holy popes create holy epics in the church. So what I pray for in our Holy Father is a spirit of truth, justice, and example. I think a lot of people were scandalized by the example of Pope Francis. And then someone's going to think, well, yeah, but Taylor, there's online people. And it's like, no, it's more than that. All right. It's more than that. I know Catholics who are older Catholics, boomer Catholics, all different ages, Novus Ordo, Trad, Eastern Catholic, Anglican Youth Catholic, all over the board. And there is generally I felt uncomfortable under the last pontificate. All right. And for various reasons. Right. That has to be fixed. Those wounds have to be healed. And yes, I mean, you know, great epic moments like this are great. I like to see it. It's amazing. But we also need to see the preaching, the teaching. You know, I'd love for a pope to say, you know, please, Catholics, get your babies baptized in that first month after birth, first week if you can. Baptism is important. Make sure your kids are getting their sacraments, first communion, confirmation. Married couples, live chastely, don't have premarital sex. I'm counting on y'all to be examples, to be saints to the world. Young families, thank you for being open to life. Contraception is a lie. Contraception is a deception of the devil. Do not contracept. Be open to life. Have families. Pope Leo, I'm praying for you. I mean, these are the kind of things that would go a long way. And it's not just a document on a piece of paper, but they are the sound bites in a soundbite era that would radically transform people. And for him to preach that in a loving way, to teach that, to maybe do basic catechesis on even things like the Apostles' Creed or the real presence of Jesus Christ, transubstantiation, Eucharistic sacrifice. Yes, we need a pope to address AI. Yes, but there are so many other things that we're getting cut and shot at and taken down on so many levels in our families and in our culture. Yes, that's true, but we also need to speak directly to pornography, divorce, gender confusion, the deception of the same-sex lifestyle, transitions. So many of these things are really hurting people, drawing people away from God. We need some just hyper-focused, clear, loving, generous, but dogmatic, moral, and doctrinal teaching in the church. And so I really hope Pope Leo does that. At the end of the day, continuing the legacy of Pope Francis and being synodal and being ecumenical, those three things are not part of the dominical divine institution of the papacy. They're kind of fashionable things right now. And Pope Leo is going to be Pope unless something happens for 20 years. That's those three things. You can't sustain a papacy on those three things. Those three things are somewhat recent and somewhat shallow. We need to dig down deep into what does it mean to be Peter? What does it mean to be disciples of Jesus Christ? What is the Mass? Why do we go to the Mass? Why have people stopped going to the Mass? Why have people stopped going to confession? These are the sacramental, dogmatic issues facing the church today. And I think if Pope Leo looks at what people are hungry for, and you look at where vocations are happening and where churches are packed and which dioceses are growing and which dioceses are failing, which Episcopal conferences are growing and have healthy vocations, what are they preaching? What are they teaching? What are they emphasizing? And then which Episcopal conferences are shrinking and closing churches and have no vocations and no nuns and no monks and no priests and no baptisms and no marriages? What are they emphasizing? I mean, if that is synodality, if that right there is synodality, hey, maybe that's not such a bad thing. The Germans have no priests. They're shrinking. People are leaving the Catholic Church in Germany. Here are their 10 emphasis bullet points that they push. Seems not to be working. Let's look over here. Oh, this Episcopal conference, they're growing at 12% a year. Their priestly vocations are now increasing again. What are they emphasizing? Oh, Rosary, Eucharistic adoration, traditional Latin Mass, proper marriage prep. Okay. Well, let's start emphasizing those things on a global scale. Let's start appointing bishops throughout the world who are going to emphasize these things. And not surprisingly, these things are the traditional things. And, the older generation said, if you come at people with the Baltimore Catechism and you come at people with that old-time religion, that old-time Catholicism, they're going to leave. They don't want to be in that church. And yet you go to their churches, and it's a beautiful church that was built, in like 1890. It's been renovated. It's all modern. They got felt banners. They've got Judy and Rita up there strumming a guitar. They got 18 Eucharistic ministers, and there's literally 42 people in the pews. And they have gray hair. You look at that and you're like, this is not a winning situation. This combination, this combo meal, it ain't selling. Then you drive down the street and you go to a Fraternity of St. Peter, Institute of Christ the King, and it's literally spilling out into the streets. Overflow seating. Everywhere I go, overflow seating. And there are babies everywhere. When I bring people to traditional Latin Mass, one of the very first things they say was over there, there's so many babies. I've never seen so many babies. It's like half the people here are babies. That's good. That's called growth. That's the Holy Spirit. That's openness to life. And then you look at the vocation rates of the FSSP, the Institute of Christ the King. Some places, the Dominicans are doing great. Even the SSPX, you look at their ordination rates per year and you compare them to the Jesuits, it's embarrassing. They're dying. The vitality, right, the yeast to make that dough rise is not working or is not there. So thanks for your super chat, Tommy. Let's see what else is going on here. Susie Glaze, do you have any tattoos? Susie, I am immaculate. No tattoos on Taylor Marshall. Nothing. Don't have anything here. Don't have any mermaids on me. Don't have a tramp stamp. I don't got anything. My skin is just as Jesus made it in the womb. And I think that's important. And for people who say tattoos are cool, God's cool with tattoos, nothing against tattoos. I don't want to offend people out there if you have tattoos. But I say, well, at the end of time, at the resurrection of the body, when God resurrects all of our bodies from the tomb and our souls are reunited with our bodies, I believe in the resurrection of the body and the life of the world to come. When God resurrects you, when you are resurrected, are you going to have the tattoos on you or not? And the answer is not. When you're raised again by Jesus, you're not going to have the tattoos. So my thinking is, if that's the case, that means Jesus doesn't want the tattoos on you, so don't get the tattoos. But no, Susie, no tats on Tay. Clean. Naruto. Oh, and by the way, I know people who are much holier than I am who have tattoos. All right, so I'm not saying that if you have a tattoo, you are a sinner or you are beyond sanctification, you are not justified. I know people who have I know priests who have tattoos, who are light years more holy than I, more humble, more loving, more devout, pray more per day than me. So I, by all means, am not trying to discount anyone who has tattoos. I don't think that they're the will of God for us, but I also recognize there are people who have tattoos who are miles ahead of me in the spiritual life. All right. Just wanted to clarify that, including many of my friends and priests I know have tattoos. Naruto says, double checked, Amoris doesn't seem to be there. See, Naruto, I thought so. I might be getting older, but I can remember in things there. But Abu Dhabi is directly cited, though. Okay, good to know. Also concerning statements on Prots, Jews, and Mohammedans. Yeah. I saw that. Oscar says, I am 16 and a new revert. Thank you for helping me. Well, God bless you, Oscar. Blessed be the Holy Spirit who blows where he wills and leads people back to Jesus. Love it. I'm going to take some. Daniel says, I have Molin Labe tattooed on my arm. Come and take it in Greek. Actually, a pretty cool thing in Greek, Daniel. Black Cassock Coffee. We'd love to sponsor your show. I'd be interested in that Black Cassock. That'd be cool. Dr. Marshall, can your new microphone be adjusted louder now that I have to raise the volume to double of other podcasts when other commercials or videos that play come on? It's too loud. Thanks. Okay, good to know. I will check on the audio. My levels look good here. I'm curious. Let me just know real quick in the live chat. Do you think the audio is too low? And we can fix that. So thanks for letting me know. Another super chat bounces in from Byrne. Just to clarify, I'm so happy to see Leo looking like a pope. My annoyance is with the Judas saying he should sell everything and be humble. Yeah, exactly. Good clarification, Byrne, and I agree with you. What do you guys think about the audio? I haven't messed with the audio in a while, and I'm looking at all my levels on my side. They look pretty solid. Other people say levels low. Okay. Well, I'll look into that. Maybe something. Yes, slightly. Okay. Everybody's saying low. All right, good. I will check into it. And next time, the levels will be higher. All right, well, that's a wrap today, guys. I appreciate everybody with the super chats. Let me make sure I didn't miss any of them. Yep, I did. Got them. Read the Catechism of the Council of Trent. Read the Baltimore Catechism. Catechize yourself. Catechize your kids. Be humble. Love God. Don't sin. If you do sin, go to confession. Find traditional Latin Mass. And remember, our Lord Jesus Christ says you're the light of the world and the salt of the earth. So go out there and be salty. God bless. Godspeed. And we'll work on these microphones.